p if and only if. That means I'm going to give you a new definition of a limit point. Okay. So the question is if and only if it satisfy, if and only if there exists a sequence of distinct point converging to p. So there should exist a sequence. You should give me a sequence of distinct point converge to p. And in the case of closer, it is if and only if there is a sequence of point. So here you don't need to have a distinct point. Require a sequence of point in a converging to p. That's it. So first of all, let us recall the definition. P is said to be a limit point if for all r positive, BPR minus P intersection A should be non-empty. And when do you call P is an adherent point? Adherent point means what? It is a point of a closure. Correct? So when P belongs to A, that their intersection A should be non-empty. And A closure equal to A union D of A. So let us see the proof quickly. I'm starting, suppose P is a limit point. So what is the definition of limit point? For all R positive, BPR minus P intersection A is not. If this is true for all R, can I say for all natural number, I can have this by Archimedean property, I can say for every R, there will be a natural number. So I'm just trying to relate that. So I'm writing VP 1 by N minus P intersection A, that is non-empty. For N equal to 1, this set is non-empty. I can take any one element of this set. Let X1 is the element. For N equal to 2, I'm taking another element, which is not equal to X1. Correct? So similarly, this is my X2. Continuing in the same way, we get a sequence of xn and of distinct point, correct? Because I am considering all of them as a distinct point, and xn belongs to this bp1 by n minus p intersection a. What is your claim? Claim is xn converges to p. I got a sequence now of distinct point. Now I have to prove this sequence is convergent and converge to the point p. Now what do you see? Your each of xn belongs to this. Xn belongs to bp 1 by n minus p intersection a. That means what? Distance between xn and p, that is less than 1 by n for all xn, correct? So by Archimedean property, I can see this is less than epsilon. So that proves your sequence xn converges to p. Means proof. Okay. Converse is very easy. Suppose that there exists a sequence. Now I am having a sequence of distinct point converge to p. The question is you have to prove p is a limit point. So what is the definition of p is a limit point? I just now told you. That is for given any r, bpr minus p intersection a should be non-empty. Correct? So let R be any positive. BPR is any open ball centered at radius R. Now we are given xn converges to P. That means write the definition. There exists n naught such that distance between xn and P is less than R. Which means what? Xn belongs to BP. What do you mean by this? If xn belongs to BPR, that means yes, xn is a sequence of set A. That means BPR minus P intersection A should be non-empty. Why non-empty? Some of you may say that, sir, xn cannot do, xn can be only constant sequence. It can be only P. Then if you remove P, then the intersection will be empty. But I have considered a sequence of distinct, so this is not going to happen. And that's it. P is a limit point. Is that okay? Now, to prove the second theorem, that is, now if P is A closure, can you think about it like this? You don't have to consider a distinct word. You don't have to choose x2, x3 like that. It should not be equal to x1. That is not a condition here. I'll be getting a sequence. That sequence may be a constant sequence. I don't care. Follow the same step and go ahead.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, we take x1 is not, x2 is not equal to x1.
Correct.
Sir, if we draw open ball, then we get two concentric circles.
Okay.
then BP half
Say
is
BP1 and BP1 by 2.
BP 1 by 2 is contained in BP 1,
Correct.
but x1 is a point from BP 1 and x2 is a point from BP half.
Correct. So,
X1 should not be equal to x2 now,
so
because
see,
there are,
there are infinitely many points. Correct? Do you agree?
yes sir, but there are
Look at
infinitely
this.
many points in a BP 1 also.
Correct. I have to choose only one point which is not equal to that. This point B, and say this is distance half, and say this is correct. So what is your question?
So we should take the point x1 which is not equal to x2.
Yes. So
But we have taken point x2 that is from BP half which is not equal to
okay.
x. Why? Because every point of BP half is a point of BP 1 also, as we are saying they are subsets of each other.
Correct.
Sorry, BP half is a subset of BP 1.
Yes.
Then we should take the point from BP 1.
No. Wait. See. Look at the set. This BP1 contains all of the people inside this. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. So suppose I am choosing this point as my x1. Correct? Forget about this circle. Yes. Suppose I am taking this point as my x1. Okay?
Yes.
And in my open ball, if you remove this point P, correct? And also intersection, I'm getting non-empty because my x1 will, there are infinitely many points. I'm choosing my x1. Now what, I'm just reducing the radius and I'm getting one more circle. Now I have to choose a x2 which should not be equal to this x1. Do you agree? Because this x1 may be inside this circle. Do you agree? Look at this. I am not saying that my x1 will be here always. It can be anywhere. So I am making sure that whatever x2 I am choosing, that should not be. It may be in the BP half or may not. That means your x1 may be in BP half or may not, but I just have to make sure अगर अंदर है तो it should not be equal to x1. See, you are having so many options to keep x1. You are having infinitely many point to choose x1. Correct? So मैंने क्या किया, सपोज मैंने यहाँ पे एक लिया x1. I don't know about radius और मुझे ये सर्कल पता ही नहीं, but later जब मैंने radius reduce किया, I'm getting one more circle. I see that my x1 lie also in the BP half. My x1 is also there, but now I have to choose a point x2 in this smaller circle. But smaller circle में x1 भी है ना? So can I
Yes.
choose this x1 as my x2?
Yes.
No, because I want distinct sequence. That is, term of a sequence should be distinct. So I have to make sure that x2 is not equal to x1. This is what I have written.
Okay, sir, understood.
We choose the x2 which is not equal to x1. Yes. Now can you quickly try to write the proof of this one? You follow the same step. See, the first line will be as it is here. P is a adherent point, and then write the definition BPR. This minus P won't be here. I am be having BPR intersection A is non-empty. Then BP 1 by n intersection A is non-empty. Then I am choosing my x1 which is in BP1 intersection A. Correct. I am choosing x2 which is in BP half intersection. I don't care whether x2 is equal to x1 or not. I don't care at all. I just have to choose x2. So x2 will be in BP half intersection A, x3 is in so on. So I will be having xn which is in BP 1 by n intersection A. The next claim is prove xn converges to P. How will you prove? Start. Since xn belongs to this, that means what? Distance between xn and P is less than 1 by n. And by Archimedean property, you can prove this is less than epsilon. Hence, you got a sequence which is converging to P. Do you agree? So in this case, my sequence may have same points. Now converse. Suppose that you are having a sequence of points of A converging to P. You have to prove P is an adherent point. That means what? Given any R, you have to prove this open ball. Suppose now again use the definition xn converges to P. Write the definition. There exists n naught such that distance between xn and P is less than R. That means xn belongs to BPR. So if xn belongs to BPR, can I say that BPR intersection A is non-empty? I don't care about this minus P. Can I say BPR intersection A is non-empty? Yes, because xn has those points, no? xn is inside this BPR. Correct? So BPR intersection, I don't care. ये same भी हुआ तभी भी चलेगा. That sequence may be a constant sequence. I am not having this condition at all. I'm just having BPR intersection. So you can take this point P. Point P belongs to both the thing, and the intersection is non-empty. Hence, you can say P is an adherent point. Is that okay? I want you to write the proof. You can write it. The proof is quite easy. Yes. Let us do some example. Why I prove this theorem? Because of this. Find the limit points of the following subsets of R with usual distance and find derived set. Derived set using sequence. Okay, let us do some example. Let us take a set A which is having say 1 upon 6 raised to n, comma or plus 1 upon 11 raised to m, where m comma n belongs to natural number. So this is the set you are having. What can you say about limit point of this set? First of all, look at the element of the set. Look at the elements of the set. Let us forget about sequence or anything. Let us try to see the definition of limit point. What is the definition of limit point and what do you see? Look at, see, whenever I have given you a set, I ask you to draw the set and try to see where does the where does the limit point lie of this sequence. Yes, what do you think?
It is 0, sir, and it is not in the set.
Okay, so I don't care. Limit point may not be in the set. I don't care. What are the limit point? That is what I'm asking. What are the limits point of this set A? Try to see the structure of the set. What do you think? Limit point का definition याद रखो and then try to follow. One limit point is quite clear to you because 0 is a limit point, isn't it? Correct? You take any radius around 0, you will see intersection will be non-empty. Agreed? Agree or not? You take any radius around 0, you will see the intersection is always
Sir,
non-empty.
can we do like this? You can keep n constant and then change m.
Very nice,
Then we
very nice.
get
That was the logic I was expecting from you. Suppose we fix n. Suppose this is a number for me. Correct? Forget about this, whatever the value is. Suppose this is the number, say p, and the question is p plus something, 1 upon 11 raised to m. So what is the limit point?
p.
P. Do you agree? That means what? Every term which is of the form 1 upon 6, 1 upon 6 square, 1 upon 6 cube, हर एक लोग limit point है. Do you agree? Everybody is a limit point.
Yes.
Why? Because if you take 1 by 6, take any radius, you will find some element of this form around this 1 by 6. If you take 1 upon 6 square, you will have so many elements of this form. Do you agree? So I got two types of limit point. First, 0 is a limit point, which was directly clear from that. And second, every element of the form 1 upon 6 raised to n is a limit point.
Or
What
1 upon
else?
11 raised to m also.
Perfect. Similarly, you can consider this as a p, and I'm having 1 upon 6 raised to n. So I'm having p plus 1 upon 6 raised to n. This is also a limit point. Is that clear? Do you agree? Do you agree? So with the definition, we got the idea that I have to prove 0, 1 upon 6 raised to n, 1 upon 11 raised to n, or m, whatever you say. These three types of limit point are there with me. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us try to prove with the help of this theorem we have proved. What was the statement of theorem? If you are given any set, what you have to give? You have to give a sequence of distinct point converging to p, then that p will be a limit point. Do you agree? And here your life is quite easy because you got a sequence. So can I say xn? Say xn equal to 1 upon 6 raised to n plus 1 upon 11 raised to m. Where does this sequence converge to? First of all, whether this sequence is of distinct point, whether for a different value of n the point is always different. Limit point के लिए ये compulsory है ना? I should have a distinct point, sequence of distinct point. First of all, do you agree this is a sequence of distinct point? Yes.
Yes, sir.
And where does this converge to? As n goes to infinity, this part will go to 0. I am having 1 upon 11 raised to m, isn't it? Yes. So what can I say? This xn is sequence of distinct points converging to 1 upon 11 raised to m, implies 1 upon 11 raised to m is limit point. Do you agree? Yes. Similarly, I can choose any other, say ym equal to 1 upon 6 raised to n plus 1 upon 11 raised to m. Again, this is also a sequence of distinct point, and ym converges to 1 upon 6 raised to n. That means what? 1 upon 6 raised to n is limit point. Correct? And what can you say about 0?
When n and m goes to infinity.
Perfect. Very nice. So you can have on one more sequence zn. n m दो different sequence लेने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. You can write 6 raised to n plus 11 raised to plus 1 upon 11 raised to n. This is again a sequence. And इसके points क्या है? वही set के point है. Sequence of the point, and it is a distinct point, and it goes to 0. So you see 0 is a limit point. So what is derived set? What is D of S1? It will be set of all 1 upon 6 raised to n belongs to natural number, union set of all 1 upon 11 raised to n, where n belongs to natural number, union 0. Do you agree? Think about it and tell me. Do you understand this? You just have to give me a sequence which converges to that point. That's it. Your life is quite easy here with the help of that theorem. You don't have to think much. Yes? Shall we go ahead? What about this sequence? Can you quickly tell me? Set of all k plus 1 upon 7 raised to n. What can you say about this sequence? Sorry, this set. What is derived set of this? Where k is also natural number. First of all, I always to tell you that try to see the behavior of set first. Before doing anything, try to see the behavior. You'll quickly get to know what is the limit point. Proof is another part. What do you think?
K is the limit point, sir.
K is the limit point. Can you prove now? Do you have any idea how will you prove?
We have 1 by 7 raised to n, which goes to as n goes to infinity.
Can I choose my xn? Say xn equal to k plus 1 upon 7 raised to n. Correct?
Yes.
So this is a sequence of distinct point, and it converges to 0. Sorry, it's converges to k, no? That means k is limit point. That means set of all natural number is limit point. Derived set क्या आएगा? Natural number. Is that okay? Good. What about this set? Tell me. Your x is rational number, y, or let me just make your question easy before going to that. Suppose I'm taking just this. X is positive and y is positive. The next question will be that one. What is derived set? Here we are dealing in R2, and I'm taking Euclidean metric. That is usual metric. So what can you say? First of all, try to see graphically what do you think the derived set is? What do you think the set of limit point is?
First quadrant.
First quadrant, correct? And what about axis? अगर positive x-axis लिया, negative x-axis लिया, then whether they are also a limit point or not?
No, sir.
The set is first quadrant, correct?
Yes.
So what is limit point? That is my question. What is set of limit point? The first solution you should say the first quadrant is always a limit point, because if I take any point here, correct? If I take any point, I am damn sure that I can get a
On the boundary.
what about the others whether anyone else is present? What about you guys? What is your answer? Shreyas, just focus on the equation. This is your point P. Okay. Shreyas, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is your point P. Take any R. Take any R, you will form an open ball around P, correct? Suppose I'm taking this R and this is the open ball. So I have drawn this BPR and इसमें से point P को neglect करो, remove this point P. What do you see? There are some points of the set A. Do you agree? These points. These are of the set A, isn't it? That means what, they are in the set A, so intersection will be non-empty. Do you agree or not?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Now it's clear.
Correct. You can think like this. I would like to prove whether this is a limit point or not. तो मैं क्या करूँगा? This is my point P. I am taking a circle around this, and I see that in this circle, if I remove this point P, P को भी मैंने निकाल दिया. Then what do you see? There are none of the point of the set A. That means intersection with A will be empty set. So this is not a limit point for me. Go slow, think about it. Take some time.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Perfect. Very good. So do you say here? What is the limit
X's
point?
are
What do you
also
think?
positive X and Y axis and the first quadrant.
Correct. Now let us. You would like to prove this. आगे अभी मुझे prove करना है तो, and I would like to use this definition. We would like to prove any X and Y belongs to A is a limit point. How will you prove? You just have to give me a sequence which converts to X and which you have to give me a sequence in R2 which converts to this set XY. Can you give me a sequence quickly? Which is quite easy. Can you give me a sequence? Give me a sequence which converts to X. Give me a Xn such that Xn converts to X. Give me a Yn
X
such that
plus 1 upon 2 raised to n.
Correct.
Y
Very
plus
good. X plus 1 on 2 raised to n. Very nice. So this is a sequence of distinct point. Agreed? And it comes to this is a sequence. Yn, choose any Yn plus n will be working, correct? Yes,
yes,
they
sir.
both are positive. That means Xn and Yn are lying in this set. That means this Xn and Yn, this belongs to the set, and this is having distinct point and is to the set XY. So I can say any point XY in the set A is limit point. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, agreed or not? Okay. Now I would like to prove these. This set is also a limit point. So get sequence which
Sir, your
converts
voice is breaking.
to x comma 0. See, now I would like to prove my positive x-axis is also a limit point. So you need to give me a sequence which converts to x 0. Can you give me a sequence which converts to x comma 0?
Yes, sir. We take the xn comma 0.
Yes, we can take x and 0. And you take this x and correct? Very good. You take x and comma, this will convert to x comma 0. And you take 0 comma y. 0 comma y. You just have to make sure whether this satisfy the condition. It should be having distinct points, and next it should be convergent, which is quite clear here. So I can prove. So I have proved that any point x and y which are greater than are set of a limit point. So what is derived set? This is your right side. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, I hope you must be clear now. Let me give you this example. Think about this. Suppose your x is rational number and y is irrational number. Think about it and tell me. Take some time, think about it. Focus on this. That means in the R2, I'm having all those x coordinates जिसका rational है and y coordinate irrational है. What do you think? What is your answer? What do you think the set of limit point is? What do you think? Yes? Your coordinate is rational, y coordinate is irrational. What are the limit points? You can take some example. Suppose मैंने यहाँ पे
Sir, R,
रखा
sir,
कि
whole R2.
whole R2. Agreed?
Yes.
Do you suppose root 2 is here? So suppose I'm having this point. Correct? So how can you claim
The
stress? How
density
do you
of
think?
uh,
Correct. That means
density
if
of
I take
this.
yes, very nice. So if I take any any open ball around this, what do you see? It will have the element of the form एक rational, एक irrational, दोनों rational, दोनों irrational. It will have all the type of forms, correct? Because I know that between any two real number there exists rational number. Between any two real number there exists irrational number also. So take any point, the intersection will always be empty. That means this set BPR minus P intersection A is always non-empty. Do you agree? For any point of the form x comma y belongs to R2. So now you have to prove. Prove means what? You have to give me a sequence, correct? You have to give me a sequence whose x coordinate converges to, you have to give me a sequence whose x coordinate is a set of rational number and y coordinate is set of irrational number, but both converge to real number. Can you give me a sequence? Real number means what? It can be rational, it can be irrational, I don't care. You just have to go back to your FYBSc and remember I have proved a theorem that is every real number, for every real number there exists a sequence of rational number converging to that point. And same, for every real number there exists a sequence of irrational number converging to it. This is again by density theorem only. Look at the statement. For every real number there exists a sequence of rational numbers, rationals or irrational. जो मैं साथ में लिखता हूँ. Okay, can you prove it? Can you prove it? Think about it. Whether given any real number, can you find a sequence of rational or irrational? पहले rational का देख करो फिर irrational का. See, one thing is quite clear. If your sequence is a set of all real number, then its limit will also be a real number. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Now the question is that अगर मैंने एक sequence लिया rational का, can you prove this converges to irrational? That means what? I am having a irrational. The question is like this. I am having a irrational. Say x is an irrational number. Can you give me a sequence? Sequence of rational converging to x.
Yes,
And this
sir.
is true for all. Yes. Tell me how.
For pi, we take 3, then we take 3.1, then 3.14, 3.142. It is a
Correct that
sequence of rational which
expansion can also
converges.
be form a sequence. Yes. Very good. That decimal expansion can also, that means for any irrational number, the decimal expansion can be written in this form. Okay. Anything else? Any other proof? This is one sequence you have given. Any other sequence can you think about?
1/3, sir.
What about 1/3?
We can write it as
But
3 by
1 by
10
3
plus
1 by
3
3
by
is a
100.
rational number, correct? It can be written of the form p by q.
Yes. But it goes to irrational.
Yeah, so you have given an example of the next question. If I'm taking any rational number, can you give me a set of irrationals converging to that? But still that won't be set of all irrational, I think. 0.3 and 0.33 and 0.333 like this. That won't be a irrational, isn't it? Okay, so I gave you some, I am giving you some time. Try to prove this. Do you understand the problem? Time think about it. Easy. We'll discuss this in the next class. I want you to take some time on this. Okay. The question is, if you take any irrational, can you give me a sequence of rational? And the next will be, give me any rational. Can you give me set of can you give me a sequence of irrational converging to this? You just have to use the definition of sequence and you can easily prove it. Okay. I am going one step ahead. That means suppose I have proved this. Then in my set, what is my set A here? A contains all x comma y such that x is rational, y is irrational, correct? Now suppose I assume that you have proved the previous theorem. That means what, I'll be getting a sequence Rn which converges to, and I'll be getting a sequence say Pn or Qn बोलता हूँ irrational से ना, Pn which equals to, so I got a sequence Rn and Pn which are in the set A, and it is having a distinct point. It converges to x comma y. So I'll tell that x comma y is a limit point. Do you agree? If you prove this theorem, then the theorem is just one line. The solution is just one line. Yeah. Is that okay? Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Let us prove one thing. See, I think I have already proved a theorem, let me just recall that theorem so that everything will be recalled. We have proved if your metric, if in a metric space, if your metric is, if you are having two metric, they are equivalent, then what can you say? If you are having a sequence convergence sequence here, then you'll have a convergence sequence there, and vice versa. Do you agree? Let me write. Let X be a metric space and the D1 and D2 be equivalent matrix. Matrix in X. Okay. Now let you are having a sequence Xn. Let Xn be a sequence which converges to P with respect to D1 if and only if Xn converging to P with respect to D2. Do you agree? And same happens for Cauchy also. Now I am giving you one question. Hey, what happened to this? Now tell me what is the problem here. Let D1 and D2 be two matrix, two equivalent matrix. I am giving you two equivalent matrix. Okay. Defined on non-empty set X. I'm having any non-empty set X. The question is that a sequence Xn bounded in X comma D1 need not be bounded in X comma D2. Can you prove this? And second part will be in terms of Cauchy. A sequence Xn Cauchy in X comma D1 need not be Cauchy in X comma D2. Can you prove this? Can you give some counter example? What is the definition of boundedness? What is the definition of boundedness? Take any R, BPR should always contain inside the set, inside that interval, whatever the set you are having. Correct? So the main important here is your set. And whatever we have proved for a matrix space. In the starting, I am telling let X be a matrix space. Correct? And here I'm taking any set. If I'm having any set, then there will be some problem. Let us give some example. Let us take say x equal to 0 comma infinity. Suppose this is a set I'm having, and let us take D1 and D2. Let us take D1 as a usual matrix, and D2 let us take as say D2 is defined like this: mod of 1 upon x minus 1 upon y. Okay. First of all, can you prove they are equivalent? I have already proved this metric and this metric are equivalent. Can you prove it? You take any open ball here, you just have to prove an open ball in that, and vice versa. Okay, so suppose I'm considering they are equivalent. Consider this sequence. Consider xn. What is your xn? Suppose I'm taking xn equal to 1 by n. Whether it is bounded with respect to d1. What do you think? Mod 1 by n. Because I'm taking with respect to d1, so which tells you that 1 by n is bounded with respect to d1, and the same sequence. What do you think in case of d2? For the same sequence xn, and what is the distance defined here? The distance defined what x minus 1 upon y. So take any point, consider P will be as a radius for me. What do you think? What is this? This is 1 upon P minus 1 upon xn. But what is 1 upon xn? Yes, what is 1 upon xn? This is 1 upon P minus n. And do you see this is the bounded set? This is the bounded, which is not bounded. Because as n goes to infinity, this distance goes to infinity. It is not. So what can you say? Xn is not bounded in x comma d2. So your metric space is also important here. Can I use the same example for the second case? For Cauchy, can I use the same example? Yes, can I use same example for Cauchy also? Even for convergent also, can I take the same example? Because every Cauchy sequence is bounded. If it is not bounded, that means it is not Cauchy. Is that clear? So you have to always focus on your matrix space. Now, if you want, I can prove that if you are having in a matrix space, if you are having two equivalent matrix, then one is convergent, then other should be converging to the same point. Maybe if you want, I can prove it because I wanted to prove. I forgot maybe. Let us do it now. Let X be a metric space and let D1, D2, D1 and D2 be equivalent matrix. In X. Okay. Xn converges to P in XD1 if and only if Xn converging to P in XD2. This is what you are supposed to prove. Let us try to prove now. So what you should start, suppose Xn is convergent. Suppose your sequence Xn is converging to P in XD1. Correct? So what do you mean by this? You have to prove that Xn is converging in XD2. What is the definition? If Xn is converging to P in XD1, what is definition? For all epsilon positive, there exists n naught belongs to a natural number such that, yes, D1 of Xn comma P that is less than epsilon, correct? Which can be written is for all n greater than equal to n naught. But this can be written in the form, or you can say your Xn belongs to B D1 of P comma epsilon. Your Xn belongs to this for all n greater than equal to n naught. Is that clear? But you know something. You know that D1 and D2 are equivalent, isn't it? So if D1 and D2 are equivalent, can you say something? Since D1 and D2 are equivalent. Correct? So if they are equivalent, that means what? Look at this epsilon. I'll get a new say radius, say delta. I can say there exists a delta positive such that, किसमें लिया मैंने? पहले Xn converges to in D1 लिया ना? So I can say there exists delta positive such that, yes, BD1, sorry, BD2 of P comma delta that will be contained in BD1 P comma epsilon. Do you agree? Since they are equivalent, that means what? Any open ball here, it contains an open ball in D2. Contains means what? There will be an open ball in BD2. That is what I am writing. BD2 is a new open ball. Radius will be different. So I'm having, there exists a delta such that this open ball will be contained inside this. But I know something. I know that all Xn which are greater than equal to n naught, they are inside this. So can I say this is subset? So can I say that is implies that Xn belongs to this also, BD2 of P comma delta for all n greater than equal to n naught. Do you agree? Which means what? D2 of Xn comma P that is less than delta, and delta is any positive number. For every epsilon there will be a delta. So delta is any positive number for me. So what can you say? Or same thing you can do in the other case also. Same thing, if you want, you can do like this. There exists a delta. You can say because it contains no, so it is vice versa. You can say there exists a delta positive such that B D1 of say, what did I write here? Xn D1 of P epsilon, right? P epsilon T1, and here let us write P comma delta. Yes. Can I say this? Yes, because it always iska open ball, there will be a open ball upper or lower, whatever you take. Now I know that each of xn belongs to B D1 of P comma epsilon for all n greater than equal to n naught. Correct? So I can say this xn belongs to this also. Same thing. That means for D2 of xn comma P, that is less than delta, which implies x to P in D2. Yes. Conversely, you can complete that. Do you agree? Even you can give some more examples here. There are so many examples where the metric are equivalent, but you will find they are not bounded. First thing you need to prove equivalent, and here your x is important here. Is that okay? Do you know the definition of countable set? What is definition of countability?